All right, hello, welcome back to Unqualified Analysis. My beard is looking oh so glorious. I've got the Mississippi State shirt on because tonight, as you're listening to this, we got a big game on deck, folks. We got Kentucky at the hump. It is sold out. Boys and girls, it's basketball season. Basketball school, baby. We don't have to worry about football right now. We are basketball o'clock right now. So, with that, not going to talk one iota about basketball because at this point, this is a football show, baby. Maybe we'll talk about some NBA as it gets to the playoffs. I am more inclined to just stick with football because you know what? Football is what makes me feel good. Okay, but today we got a bunch of headlines mostly, and the NFL Combine is coming up this week, folks. We've got all of the major prospects that are expected to be drafted. I don't really know what you would consider the prospects that are going to go to the Combine. However, we got them all running this week. We got wide receivers. We got cornerbacks. We got linemen. We have got kickers, special teamers of all variety, running backs, linebackers, safeties. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. But yeah, we are going to be looking at the Combine today. We're going to be looking at some headlines. And yeah, I'm going to be starting this thing off with a little bit of, not a State of the Union of the Vikings, just, railing against something that has really grinded my gears in the Twitter sphere. We are in the prime time of asinine off-season takes right now, and I've just got to put one to bed right off the top of this show. So, without further ado, I'm going to take a swig of this beautiful, delicious coffee, and we're going to get right into it here. I'll tell you what, that was beautiful and delicious. Good coffee. Good coffee right there. And by that, I mean a generic Starbucks K-Cup with some vanilla creamer in there. I'm a sweet little boy. I like my sweets in my coffee. With that said, let's just get straight into this thing, shall we? Because it's starting to become a popular talking point, I'll ask the question that has been on some people's minds, and I'll phrase it in the way of a popular, like a first take style morning show. Should the Vikings trade Justin Jefferson to get more roster flexibility? Let me think about that. No, you idiots. You should not trade Justin Jefferson. Will you get a first-round pick? Maybe a couple first-round picks? Obviously, you're going to get that. Would you get a little bit more cap flexibility? Sure. Absolutely sure. Would you get the best wide receiver in the NFL anymore? Absolutely fucking not. Not a goddamn chance. We're 3 minutes into this thing, and I'm already pissed off enough to where I've used the fuck word. It's dead. It's absolutely dead right now. You guys are just putting me on edge right now, and I'm not sure any of you guys will hear this, but I hope you do. You people are delusional. You guys are, you're not a Score North listener. You have settled. If you know, you know on that one. That's a real inside baseball Vikings Twitter sort of phrase I just used there. I'd say 99% of you to 100% will have no idea what that means, but just know that was a good joke. You should know that was an excellent joke, excellent verbal meme usage. I digress though. Why the hell? I understand the financial argument for getting rid of Justin Jefferson, for trading him away to a contender of some variety or whoever the highest bidder happens to be. I understand the financial argument. I understand there are holes in the roster, up and down it. I mean, we've talked about it before. Interior offensive line, defensive line, secondary needs more depth. Linebacking is a question mark. Harrison Smith is, maybe not going to be with the team next year. We'll wait and see on that one. I understand lots of holes in the roster. I'm just of the belief that, and we'll talk about it here in just a second. Thank you, Taylor Swift. We got a massive bump in the cap. So with that, we should have enough money if we make some moves here and there to re-sign Danielle Hunter, to re-sign Justin Jefferson, and to maybe possibly re-sign Kirk Cousins. I have mixed feelings on that one, but we'll leave that there for now. We have the money to do it, and when you have the best wide receiver in the NFL, screw that. When you just have a guy, I am of the belief you should make it work no matter what you have to do, because those types of dudes don't just grow on trees. Justin Jefferson do not grow on trees. I mean, even a guy like Kirk Cousins, you're going to have a hard time finding a replacement level guy to come in there and do what Kirk Cousins has done. He's been fantastic in Kevin O'Connell's system. But I'm of the belief that, yes, it's probably going to cost you somewhere around $30-35 million a year for Justin Jefferson. Yes, that is a very, very steep price to pay. But when you have on track to be a Hall of Famer if he doesn't, Lord willing, knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't have any injury situations going on there throughout his career. On track to be a Hall of Famer, though, if that is not the case, you simply don't let that guy walk out of the building. I mean, that's just my personal philosophy. A guy entering his prime, maybe we haven't even seen the best of Justin Jefferson yet, and he's been the best receiver in the entire NFL. Does it give you cap flexibility if you get rid of him? Surely. Does it maybe give you an opportunity to fill some holes in the roster? Surely. I would argue you're still going to be a worse team, though, because of the gravity that Justin Jefferson has, especially with TJ Hawkinson. Who knows how long he's going to be out? He just had his ACL surgery like a month ago. There is not unless he really pushes it, which I hope he doesn't, I don't think there's a chance in hell that he starts week 1. I'd say the first month of the season just not going to happen. I don't think it should happen. I think you don't rush that sort of thing back. It makes zero sense to me from a actual team building standpoint to get rid of Justin Jefferson. You can make the financial argument all you want. I simply disagree. I simply think if you have a guy like Justin Jefferson, you hang on to him no matter what, because he makes the entire offense better. And that extra money you pay to him more than makes up for what you're losing out as far as depth and whatnot is concerned, just because of the effect he has on the offense, the effect he has on the entire team. And he's not even a guy that you need him to be wide open to throw the ball to. Not that he doesn't get wide open, because he does, one of the best route runners in the NFL. But even when he's double covered, we've seen time and again, he is maybe the best jump ball receiver in the entire NFL right now. He just provides things that I think $35 million is more than worth it for Justin Jefferson. Whatever the number happens to be, he's getting quarterback money no matter what. More than worth it for a guy like Justin Jefferson on the team. So I just wanted to, take some time and say that you people that are trying to get Justin Jefferson out of Minnesota, you're either fans of another team or you're a dumbass fan of the Vikings. And there's no shortage of those. We all know that. Those who have been in the slop heap of the Vikings Twitter at times know that dumb takes abound. The Rick Soses of the world will keep on pushing dumbass narratives of questionable validity. Try to be better than that, guys. Let's just try to be better. In 2024, let's rise above dumbass takes that don't make any sense whatsoever, and let's just move into a brighter future where we have a guy like Justin Jefferson, where we don't have people spouting off at the mouth about dumb shit that should not be a thing. And I'm sure that the front office is not listening to. Let's try and rise above it all in 2024. But yeah, with that, away from my angry ranting, I just wanted to put it out there that no, you idiots, we should not be trading Justin Jefferson. We should be paying that man his money. Same thing with Danielle Hunter, for that matter. Pay those two whatever you got to pay him to keep him around, especially since Danielle Hunter, I am more than 50% sure, it is more than a 50-50 shot in my mind, that he goes to the Bears if he goes into free agency. You cannot let that man get out of the building. Otherwise, he will haunt our nightmares 2 times a year, and maybe in the playoffs if we see him. Pay that man his money, and I'll leave it at that. With that said, though, I got a couple players. Well, I have several players to watch at the NFL Combine. As I said before, it is this week. I believe it's starting on Thursday, either Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which one. Goes into the weekend. We got all sorts of players coming in there and doing their Combine-related stuff. It is a time where some players' stocks will rise, some players' stocks will fall. I don't think we should put an immense amount of stock in what happens at the combine athletically, though teams do. I mean, time and time again, teams undervalue players like Michael Mayer last year. Didn't measure particularly well. Had about the same vertical as me in high school. I believe he was like 29 inches or something like that. Ran like a 4.8 40, and he had a solid rookie season. If he didn't have a dog shit quarterback there in almost said Oakland, in Las Vegas, I think he probably would have had a really nice rookie season. As it is, he had a really good rookie season. A very good blocker, very good possession receiver, a guy that should not have dropped as far as he did. But on the flip side of things, you'll get guys like, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, like Teron Armstead back in the day. He came out of absolutely nowhere, ran like a 4.8 40 as an offensive lineman. Now you see he's an all-pro type of guy. He became a first-round pick off of the virtue of running that 40 at the combine, because I don't know what it is. I'm a victim of this too. You see a 300-pound man running a sub 540, you're like, I want that guy. That's Al Davis's wet dream. That is my dream, to say the least. I want that guy in my building every single day of the goddamn week. I don't understand it. It's just it's human nature, man. We see big men running fast and we're like, I want that guy on my team. You know what? With all that said, the combine is here, folks. It is an interesting time. I'm not going to watch a damn second of it, but we'll be doing a recap next week. So, to preview it, I got a couple players that I want y'all to watch as I continue to gulp this coffee right quick. The Justin Jefferson rant got my throat a little on the dry side, so we're going to keep it moving from there. So, first and foremost, I'm going to be starting off with some big names and just moving down the list pretty much. Brock Bowers. Not a huge take to say that a possible top 10 pick is going to be, a player to watch. I want to see how fast he runs the 40, though. I think there's a good chance, because I've seen him take handoffs, take jet sweeps all the way to the house and be separating from guys. I think there's an outside chance he runs like a 4.5, maybe a high 4.4. And if he does that, there's not a snowball's chance in hell he makes it out of the top 10 of the draft. So watch Brock Bowers. Interested to see what his athletic measurables are. I feel like he's going to be a star coming out of this thing. If he was already, but he's an absolute, specimen at tight end. I think he is going to be a game changer for whatever team he goes to, just by virtue of the multitude of ways that you can use him. So Brock Bowers, obviously, player to watch. Watch that 40 time. Ladd McConkey, a Georgia teammate of Brock Bowers, he absolutely torched every DB that was in front of him at the Senior Bowl. I think more than half the tweets that I saw about the Senior Bowl were about Ladd McConkey just absolutely eviscerating guys at the Senior Bowl. And even going to, I believe it's Daniel Jeremiah, big-time draft guy with the NFL Network. Whenever he said whenever he was looking at film of other guys of DBs, Ladd McConkey kept popping up as a guy that those DBs would struggle against. Obviously an elite route runner, a guy that I think by virtue of the lack of melanin in his skin gets underrated for how fast he is. I think he's going to have a really fast 40. Maybe not really fast, but I think 4.5, like a good wide receiver type of number. 4.5, 4.4's high. Maybe even goes faster than that. Maybe he's even faster than I think he is, and I'm being a racist over here. But I think the one to watch there, I think his short shuttle might be comparable to Jackson Smith-Njigba last year. You may remember last year, number one wide receiver in last class, Jackson Smith-Njigba. He ran an insane short shuttle, under 4 seconds, which, if you're running under 4 seconds, that's some elite quickness right there. I expect Ladd McConkey to have similar types of numbers. Maybe it's not going to be as insane as Jackson Smith-Njigba. Ladd McConkey's a little bit taller than Njigba is. Got a little bit more size to him, so we'll see. But just based on what I've seen from him in college, what he did at the Senior Bowl, I think there's a good chance that you get some elite quickness numbers out of Ladd McConkey. I don't think he sneaks into the first round just by virtue of having a stacked wide receiver class this year, and you're going to notice I have a lot of wide receivers coming up on this list. But I think a high day 2 sort of pick. I think he's going to step in and be a contributor right away for someone. If he goes to the right quarterback, like if he goes to Kansas City, Ladd McConkey in Kansas City, I think he's going to be a elite chains mover in year 1. I think that would be an excellent fit for him to go there. So Ladd McConkey is another guy to watch. Cooper DeJean, white corner. Need I say more? White corner who is probably going to be a first-round pick unless the racism takes over. I want to see his 40, if for no other reason than if he does not run a sub 4.5 in the 40, some DB coach is going to be like, "Hey, son, you want to move on over to safety? See if you're feeling good about that." No, Coop, stay on the outside. We need a little bit more diversity on the outside in the NFL right now. Cooper DeJean, white cornerback. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. He was an elite punt returner and elite coverage guy in college. A big reason why that Iowa defense was so stout the last couple years over there. Joe Milton, quarterback over at Tennessee. Really, I've cooled on Joe Milton. He's got a crazy arm, crazy build. This is basically just, I understand how the minds of GMs and scouts work. They're going to get absolutely, and he's got the build and the arm that is going to make some team fall in love with him. I don't know what team it's going to be. He's going to rocket up some draft boards just because he's going to throw the ball about 80 yards from a standstill. I don't know what his 40 is going to look like. He's not exactly known for being mobile. Probably high 4s, I would say, if I had to guess. That arm strength and that athleticism alone, though, is going to get him higher in the draft than I think people realize. I don't think he certainly shouldn't be a first-round pick. I would not be shocked at all if someone just reached up and took him in the second round. I think he's probably, if you're just going by the merits of his college play, not great accuracy, not the most mobile guy in the world, didn't have great numbers in college, probably a third, fourth round pick on the third round side just because of the elite measurables he's got. But yeah, someone will fall in love with him at the combine because excuse me, he's going to throw, and he is going to throw the ball really damn far. He's gonna enamor somebody. Someone is going to fall in love with him. Mark my words on that one. Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver at Texas. He's being kind of forgot about with the insanely deep wide receiver class we've got this year. But he walked in the door as a true freshman and was the best wide receiver on a team like Texas, which is known for putting out wide receivers year after year. Really good skill positions over there, and he was elite from day one. Kind of a similar type of mold to Derek Stingley over there with LSU, and we all saw what happened with Derek Stingley. Came into his own this year in his second year in the league. I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick. He might sneak into the back end of the first round. Watch his 40 time, watch all the measurables, all that sort of stuff. I just think he's going to step in somewhere and be really, really good this year. That would be another one that Kansas City picks him up. They might have a possible star on their hands if they get their hands on Xavier Worthy. I really, really like Xavier Worthy in this draft. Blake Corum, running back from Michigan. No doubt in my mind, it's a different era of the NFL draft. He's a day 2 guy through and through. No question about it. He can really move up if he tests well, though. Either way, I think he's going to the Chargers. I think somehow, some way, you just look at the situation, the running back situation over there with the Chargers right now. Austin Eckler might be kind of sort of low-key over the hill, and they're probably, I think he's probably going to be with the team this coming year. I don't know if in 2025 that Austin Eckler is going to be there. Josh Kelly's a fine enough back, but not a guy that you want to feature. Blake Corum obviously was with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan for all 4 years that he was at Michigan. Got a lot of familiarity with Jim Harbaugh there. Kind of lost a step after the injury this past season, but I really think in that Greg Roman offense, they're going to want one more running back. And with that connection that Jim Harbaugh has, I would almost be willing to bet money that that Blake Corum is going to be with the Los Angeles Chargers this year. Just my humble prediction. I don't think that Austin Eckler is long for that job. I think Josh Kelly is better as a change-up back. Blake Corum, if he tests well, I think will be on the Chargers. Hell, even if he doesn't test well, I think Jim Harbaugh will take a flyer on him, maybe day 3 if he drops that far, and bring him in the building. I just believe that in my soul. Bucky Irving, running back from Oregon. Boys and girls, this may be my favorite player in this lot. I think he might have the fastest 40 time among running backs. He has legitimate breakaway speed. Reminds me a lot of Devon A-Chain over there with Texas A&M in 2023. Got those same kind of explosive capabilities, and it's difficult to evaluate because he was in the Pac-12. Pac-12 not really known for defense, to say the least. But he's been productive basically every year. He's been a starter over there. He's a little bit on the smaller side, but in the modern NFL, I don't think that matters that much, quite frankly. He's versatile. He is stouter than he gets credit for, I think. He's not exactly a large back, but he's thick for his size, and he's got legitimate breakaway speed. I think he's a day 2 guy. He's going to step in there somewhere, and I believe in my heart he's going to take someone's job as a starting running back this year. I just believe that. I don't know if hey, the size is a concern. I don't know if he's going to be a star wherever he goes. I just believe in my soul that that Bucky Irving's going to be a starter somewhere by the time it's all said and done. So that's another one. Xavier Leggett, wide receiver from South Carolina. If you watched him at all in college, one word and one word only is needed to describe this guy: freak. Absolute freak. I mean, shades of DK Metcalf. The dude is just, like 6'2", 6'3", 230, and I've been hearing rumblings he's going to run maybe under a 4.4, maybe around like a low 4.4. If he does that, there's an outside chance he makes it into the first round. I don't think he makes it past the second round. Xavier Leggett is a freak, absolute athletic freak, and he torched the SEC all year last year. He was really good the year before. I think he is, it speaks to how deep this wide receiver class is that he might not even be in the first round, but in any other year, I think Xavier Leggett is a first round pick. He's just that special of a wide receiver. That's a guy to watch specifically in the 40. Jalen Polk, both the Jalen's on Washington, Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan, the forgotten men at the Washington wide receiver group. Both are damn good players, though. I need to watch their 40 time, their short shuttles. Really, those are the two that I would pay attention to on that one. If they run well, there's a good chance they make it into the second, third round conversation. Maybe fourth round. We'll see how it all goes. Bookie Watson. We're getting into some homer picks now, folks. Bookie Watson, linebacker at Mississippi State. 2 straight years where he was top 2 in tackles in the SEC. He is, I think he led the league, or it was either first or second in sacks this past year. He is a freak off the edge. Not necessarily a body type that you look at and say, yeah, that's an absolute day 1 starter in the NFL. Definitely want to take him. I think he's got to lose some weight around the midsection. He's got to lean up a little bit more. Just being real with you, if he wants to succeed at the next level. But you don't lead the SEC in tackles, or your top 2 for 2 straight years. By the way, Jet Johnson, the other guy, I don't think he's quite as much of a pro prospect. He's a very good college linebacker. I think he can figure it out at the next level, but he's got a lot longer to go than Bookie Watson. Bookie Watson, I think, the only thing that's going to keep him down is possibly being midsection heavy a little bit. Enjoyed the Mississippi food, I think it is safe to say, for Bookie Watson, but he gets after it. He flies to the ball. He is really, really good at the point of attack. Might even slip to day 3. I think someone's going to get a steal whenever they get Bookie Watson, though. I'm interested to see if he runs well. Interested to see what his bench numbers are and all that sort of stuff. All the quickness numbers and stuff like that. I just believe after watching him for 4 years, actually 5 years at Mississippi State, I just believe he has what it takes to be a everyday starter at the NFL level. Maybe it doesn't happen in year one, but by the time it's all said and done, I just feel like Bookie Watson has a possible 10-year vet written all over him. I just think he's a really solid player, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did in college in the toughest division in all of college football in the SEC West. So watch him. I don't know if he's going to light it up at the combine, but I do feel in my heart of hearts that he is going to do very, very well at the next level. Another homer pick, kind of. This one is a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Credible, I suppose you could say. Tulu Griffin. Ledietrich, if you're just going by his actual first name. Either way, awesome first name. Old Toulouse over there. Tulu Griffin. I'm going to put it out there right now. There's a chance, and I think it's a pretty good chance, that Tulu Griffin has the fastest 40 time among wide receivers at the combine. You saw it flash off the screen on kick returns, especially bubble screens. Every time they got the ball in his hands with Mississippi State, Tulu Griffin was just burning people. Again, in the toughest division in all of college football in the SEC West, he was burning possible future pros in college, and he was separating with ease. I think there is a really good chance he runs somewhere in the low 4.3s, maybe even cracks the 4.2s. I have a strong suspicion he's going to be the fastest wide receiver at the combine. Maybe not a day 2 pick, probably a day 3 pick when it's all said and done. I would be willing to bet money he's going to return kicks for someone next year. He is a dynamic kick returner. Got some ways to go as far as a route runner is concerned, but as far as a gadget player, a guy you just get the ball in his hands and just let him work, I mean, Tulu Griffin, I think he's going to make some contributions next year at the NFL level, and he will be someone's kick returner next year. I don't know who he's going to be, obviously. He will be someone's kick returner next year. They will be foolish not to use him as such. Getting out of the homer picks, we got Jaheim Bell, tight end from formerly South Carolina, went to FSU last year to finish out his college career. Didn't have the biggest numbers in the world, but a versatile athletic freak. Doesn't get the same acclaim that Brock Bowers does, obviously. You don't hear a whole lot about him. It's not as deep of a tight end draft as it was last year, but Jaheim Bell is a really, really solid tight end. I think as an athletic sort of specimen, if you will, and I keep getting uncomfortable using that term. I need to figure out something else to say other than specimen, but an absolute athletic freak. I think he's going to run very, very well in the 40. I think his bench numbers are going to be really, really solid. He's a strong guy. He's a physical guy. A guy that, and I mean, hey, if you're creative with him, I mean, he's got really good speed, really good size. You can kind of get him on jet sweeps, a la what Brock Bowers did at times at Georgia, and just get the ball in his hands and let him work. Kind of a Taysom Hill sort of mold, except for he's like an actual tight end, unlike Taysom Hill. He's got tight end size and all that sort of stuff. Really well suited to succeed at the NFL level in this era. Again, won't be a first-round pick, might not even be a second-round pick, but I think round 3 or 4, I think someone is going to get a really good player in Jaheim Bell. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does at the combine because, like I said, he's a physical freak. And my final player to watch, Jawar Jordan. Kind of an off-the-radar guy, a running back at Louisville. Absolutely was a monster at Louisville. Jeff Brom leaned on him big time. They had questions at quarterback. Jack Plummer wasn't fantastic as the quarterback of Louisville last year. He is in a position where I think he's going to get overlooked a little bit. We'll see how he runs. I think if he runs well, he can vault himself into a high day 2 sort of pick. He's another guy, a lot like Bucky Irving. I think by the end of the season next year, I think Jawar Jordan could be in line to be a starting position for some team across the league. You take your pick. Could be the Vikings for all I know. We got a dearth of talent at running back right now. That's for damn sure. Jawar Jordan, though, that's a name to watch. running back out of Louisville. Really like that player. I think he's going to be very, very solid next year. And with that, that's my preview for the Combine. Players to watch. Gave you about 50 of them right there. So hopefully you take that, and we'll be revisiting after the Combine. And I am sure there is at least one player, probably multiple players that I did not mention that will absolutely light up the Combine, and we'll be talking about next week. So stay tuned, I suppose. We are, we're in the thick of the offseason, man. We're about to just launch ourselves headlong into free agency. I can't wait. I love this part of the not this particular part of the offseason. This is the quiet before the storm. I love the free agency period. It gets crazy at times. Drama happens, all that sort of stuff. Trades happen. I mean, players getting released that you didn't necessarily expect. It's a fun time of year. So looking forward to that come early March. With that said, though, that's it for Combine coverage. Looking forward to watching that. Let's gulp down the rest of this coffee real quick. There's more coffee in that mug than I expected, quite frankly. That was a lot. That was a mouthful of coffee. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling amped. Let's go. All right. Let's get into some headlines here, shall we? With Tommy Townsend set to be an unrestricted free agent, the Chiefs are making a controversial signing. They're bringing in punter Matt Araiza. This is his first opportunity since, rape charges against him were dismissed last year. He got cut from the Bills after being drafted pretty high for a punter. And then he was cut following the allegations and the charges. If the story about him is truly fabricated, we'll never know on that front, quite frankly. Charges get dropped all the time, and the stories end up being true. So, don't know, quite frankly. He's out of legal trouble, though, and he's a really talented punter. So, I understand. If it's not true, if the story was fabricated, I wish him all the best in the world. I just, a little word of advice. Matt, you better ball the fuck out. That's the only thing that can possibly save you here, is if you ball the fuck out. Because if and you don't, and even if you do, quite frankly, the comments are coming. In fact, they're already out there. I mean, I've seen plenty of people on the old Twitter spheres, the X sphere, whatever the hell you call it nowadays, talking about how this guy shouldn't be in the NFL. He should not be given this platform, shouldn't be given another opportunity. I don't necessarily agree with those people, quite frankly, because I mean, hey, I like redemption stories. Again, no legal trouble at this point in time, so we'll see. Worth a flyer at the very least. I understand this from the Chiefs' point of view, because you're getting a guy at salvage value. You could get a lot out of him too. Whereas Tommy Townsend, he's going to get paid by somebody in free agency. He's an elite punter coming off back-to-back Super Bowls where he played pretty well. Didn't get a whole lot of opportunities, quite frankly, because you got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. But you're saving money when we're bringing in Matt Araiza. So I understand that. You better ball out, son. You better absolutely ball out, because you're going to be getting a lot of comments. I hope the kid is mentally tough, because, boy, it's going to get loud, and it's going to get even louder if he's bad at his job. This might be a one-year experiment. I understand the flyer, though, from the Chiefs. It's a savvy way of saving money. Morally questionable, but what else is new, man? That's life in business, quite frankly. Sometimes morally questionable things happen. I'm interested to see how this works out, though, and I am popcorn in hand, waiting for the shit show to start if he does play badly. No, I'm rooting for. Well, am I? I don't know, man. I'm just really interested to see how it all works out. I guess I'm not really rooting for him one way or the other. I'm just an uninvested observer, trying to see what happens with all of that. Outside of that, though, the NFL salary cap smashed expectations by increasing $30 million. The general consensus that it was going to increase around 15 might be a game changer for some team or some teams with big contract negotiations coming up. The Vikings, maybe. Say it with me, everyone. And I think we all know what's coming next. Thank you, T Swift. Appreciate everything you did for the NFL this year. There is no question in my mind that revenue increase was due in no small part to the presence of Taylor Swift at Chiefs games all throughout the year. So, yeah, thank you so much for your contributions, Taylor Swift. You might have done enough for the Vikings to keep Danielle Hunter, Justin Jefferson, and Kirk Cousins on the team, keep us going for playoffs and for championships and all that sort of stuff. So, very much appreciated, Taylor Swift. Very much appreciated. That's a game changer for a lot of teams. The Saints, too. I mean, that's $15 million of extra cap space that they didn't have before. I mean, they were 120 in the hole before they restructured Derek Carr's contract this past week. I mean, Mickey Loomis only knows one way, man. I don't know if I need to see. Yeah, that's not a headline here, so we can talk about it now. Yeah, the Saints restructured Derek Carr's contract. They're on pace to be cap compliant. Don't go ahead and look at 2025 or 2026 for that matter. The picture's never pretty with Mickey Loomis at the helm. I just want to see how far he can kick the can down the road before he inevitably retires and leaves the franchise $200 million in the hole for whatever poor soul takes over that job next. Yeah, good luck, Saints. Good luck. You're in line to have another mid-roster next year, the year after that, in perpetuity until you just decide you got to finally bite the bullet and stop kicking that can down the road. But yeah, thank you, T Swift, for that bump in the cap. It really helps out the boys with the Minnesota Vikings, to say the least. The Dolphins will be releasing former All-Pro corner Xavier Howard at the start of the new league year. His play did drop off last season, make no mistake about it. He was not quite on that Pro Bowl, All-Pro level that he had been in the past. However, still a very, very solid addition to someone's roster across the league. I feel very strongly he's going to be one of those players that's off the board early in free agency. Maybe a team like the Vikings that's looking for more depth in the secondary, looking for some new players to bring in there. Could be an option there for sure. A lot of secondary needy teams out there that are going to be in the market for Xavier Howard's services. Also, the Dolphins are releasing defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah coming off a disappointing season. This was kind of expected. Really, with all of the opportunities at his disposal, the pure attrition on the edge for the Miami Dolphins last year, for Emmanuel Ogbah to not have big-time numbers with the opportunities he had at his disposal to go out there and get the reps to get those numbers, I think that says all you need to know. That's a very understandable move from the Miami Dolphins. You can't be paying top dollar for a guy that's underperforming, to say the least. So we'll see where Emmanuel Ogbah ends up. Could be an addition for somebody. I don't know. After that drop-off last year, I'd be scared to bring him in, but we'll see. We'll see how it all works out for him. Also, the Steelers are releasing starting center Nick Cole. He has been the full-time starter the last 2 seasons. I believe he started 36 games over the last 2 years. 36, 38? I don't know. 34, I think, actually. 34, 32. I can't remember exactly what the numbers are. But guy that's been a starter there for a while. Could be an addition for somebody. He's going to end up on somebody's roster. I guarantee you that right now. This is kind of a salary cap move. I would imagine in the draft, the Steelers are going to be in the market for a new center, obviously, with Mason Cole not there. So, yeah, I guess I understand it from a salary cap perspective. Really good lineman on the market now, though. I mean, an upgrade for somebody. Someone's got a starting center they don't feel good about that Mason Cole is going to replace. I can guarantee you of that. T. Higgins, he is being franchise tagged by the Cincinnati Bengals, projected to make $21.8 million if he plays on the tag. So he's either going to be a Bengal or he's going to be traded. The fact of the matter is, though, the Bengals now hold all the cards. The only thing T. Higgins can do is withhold his services, which we'll see how contract negotiations go. The Bengals have been solid in the past about getting these contracts done, so I would expect them to do their guy right. He's a guy they brought in 2020, helped turn around the franchise with Joe Burrow at the helm. I think they're gonna pay that man his money, pay that man what he is worth. At the end of the day, You do also have to keep in mind, though, that the Jamar Chase contract is looming on the horizon as well. So no guarantees. No guarantees he gets big-time money when that one is looming just out there. So, yeah, he will be on the franchise tag. I think he probably ends up signing a new contract with the Bengals this offseason, but that's one to keep an eye on there. Former Chiefs and Commies offensive coordinator is signing a 2-year deal to be UCLA's new offensive coordinator. That would be, I can't believe, Eric Bieniemy. I just skipped over his name. Eric Bieniemy is going to be the new offensive coordinator on UCLA's staff under new head coach Deshaun Foster. Keeps on moving down. Maybe he works better at the college level because I've heard he's an absolute hard ass from the people that are in the know about the goings on in the NFL. And that sort of style works better at the college level. I think it's a really good hire by Deshaun Foster. I thought for sure that Eric Bieniemy was just going to end up back on the Chiefs staff, but obviously Matt Nagy, they're pretty attached to him as the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. And I understand Eric Bieniemy not wanting to get back in the building and sit behind Matt Nagy. So go to a place where you can keep calling plays. Maybe he gets an opportunity at a college head coaching position. We'll see how it works out there. Maybe he makes the jump back to the NFL. I think that's certainly not out of the question, especially if he does a really good job there at UCLA. The cupboard is next to bare, though, so good luck, Eric. You've got your work cut out for you. Deshaun Foster, for that matter, first year in the Big Ten. There's a good chance it's going to be a rough one, so good luck to you over there. We're replacing Chip Kelly, who left to take the Ohio State offensive coordinator job after the awkward situation where it was reported that he was going to get fired if he lost a specific game. I think it was the USC game. If he lost that one, he was going to get fired. He wins that game, doesn't get fired. At that point, it was pretty clear that the marriage was over. Deshaun Foster got his work cut out for him. That's all I'll say. He's got his work absolutely cut out for him at UCLA. Good hired offensive coordinator, though, with Eric Bieniemy. I think he did a solid job, all things considered, with the Commies last year. No offensive line, subpar quarterback play. Still got some decent enough offensive numbers out of what he had. I think that's a good pickup by UCLA there with Eric Bieniemy. Excuse me. Sorry, that was unprofessional as hell. Former Eagles defensive coordinator Sean Desai is being hired by the Rams for a senior defensive advisory role. Not much else to the story, just kind of a where are they now sort of headline. Sean Desai is now back in the NFC West on the Rams staff now, not the Seahawks staff as he once was under Pete Carroll. A federal judge. This is a big one. This is our final real headline before we get to a fun headline to end this thing off. A federal judge granted an injunction against the NCAA, ruling in favor of the University of Tennessee. This essentially means the NCAA has no jurisdiction over NIL recruitment, and a federal court just basically set the legal precedent for that. If you didn't know already, it's over. I mean, the NCAA is done. They're not disbanding. The organization is still there and will probably continue to be there. They just got chopped down at the knees by a federal court, though. They have absolutely no jurisdiction over NIL or anything of the like. I mean, teams can keep doing basically whatever they want until a viable long-term structure emerges that'll replace the current, absolute mess that we've got right now. Not an unmitigated disaster because the product is still good on the field. But yeah, it's going to be still the Wild West, and the NCAA just took a huge hit with this ruling. You don't expect to see any more NIL-related punishments. I'll just put it that way because the NCAA has no leg to stand on. Tennessee, basically just took the dagger and shoved it directly in the NCAA's chest. The NCAA presented them with sanctions, and Tennessee was like, stabby stab. How about we say no to that, and we keep doing whatever we want? And they ended up winning. This is They flew a little too close to the sun, did the NCAA. That usually they only go after the most vulnerable, the little guys they can pick on and kind of make an example of. Tennessee, hey, you come at the king, you better not miss, man. And they're not the king, obviously, of the SEC. But yeah, you go after a major program where football is life, like in the SEC, and with a program with a lot of resources at its disposal. And I'll tell you right now, fuck Vanderbilt. I think everyone in the state of Tennessee, outside of the immediate area of Nashville, hell, even the governor, Bill Lee, I think put out a statement on the University of Tennessee and the NCAA investigation going on related to the NIL deal and negotiations with Nico Iamaleava. Yeah, you chose the wrong fight. I will put it that way, and they are paying dearly for that. I think this is just another nail. The final nail is not in the coffin of the NCAA. We are getting the nails together now as we speak, though. In the next couple years, I think the NCAA is going to be relegated to a sideshow, quite frankly. I don't know what role they have in the new coming era of college football. I think the big fireworks are yet to happen, I would say. You got some major conference realignment in the form of, the Pac-12 disintegrating before our very eyes. Last offseason, you got one court thing going on with Tennessee that they won that injunction, chopped the NCAA down at the knees. The next domino to fall, I think, is Florida State with that court case they have. They will not be in the ACC for much longer. And I think there is a good chance that you see movement on that before the next football game they play. That's kind of stealing the words of Josh Pate, but it's how I've felt really since Florida State was snubbed from the playoffs. And hey, I understand where they're coming from. If you're undefeated in a quote-unquote Power 5 conference and that doesn't get you a automatic bid into the playoffs, what's the point of being in that conference anymore? And they've felt that way for a couple of years, I think. Whether they have to pay a steep buyout to get out of the conference, or whether a court decides to disband that grant of rights for the ACC, Florida State is going to leave that conference at some point, and when they do, that is the domino that is probably going to spell the end for the ACC as we know it. It's just a matter of where all of those teams end up and who gets left behind. Because like the Pac-12, like Oregon State and Washington State, there will be teams that are left behind. Make no mistake about it. Maybe the ACC will still continue to operate like the Pac-12 is doing right this second. However, it's not going to be the same ACC that it was before. I think that's going to be the big eruption that ushers in the new era of college football, because by that time, the SEC, the Big Ten, they're both going to be pushing 20 teams, if not even more than 20 teams. The Big 12 is probably going to be pushing 20 teams because they're going to pick up the sloppy seconds, as they've shown a propensity to do, just to stay alive and stay relevant. They got the want-to be that third best conference. God bless their hearts. They're going to be, again, probably the third conference that is still alive whenever this whole thing all shakes out. That is going to be the next domino to fall for the NCAA and this new era of college sports in general. It's a brave new world, and we're going to be seeing a lot of changes over the next 5 years. I think we're going to be seeing, certainly I think college athletes, college football players in particular, are going to be started to be treated as employees coming up. I think that's just a matter of time before that ends up happening. But even more than that, I have a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be a lot of changes in the college football, college sports landscape. Some good, a lot of bad. Unavoidable at this point, though. This is the mess that the decision makers have put upon us. So it is what it is now. We're just along for the ride. With that, though, one more headline to get us out the door. Today, I've been adding in some fun headlines to end the thing off, so we end on a fun note. Today, you may have seen this on X, Twitter, wherever it happened to be. Probably on Instagram too. It made the rounds on social media. A group of people decided to pick a fight with Cam Newton at a 7-on-7 event in Atlanta, and it went exactly as you would suspect. So let's do a breakdown on the way out of today, of the show today, to end this thing off. I'm gonna watch the video real quick because I need to refresh my mind here. I don't know if I'll put it on screen. I'm a little lazy. Let's be honest here. I'm a little lazy when it comes to doing that sort of editing and all that effort and whatnot. But let's pull up the old Cam Newton. Let's go over here to the old Twitter account. I've got it pulled up here somewhere. Yeah. So starting off here, we don't see the preamble to the fight. We just basically see a couple of guys going at Cam Newton. Cam Newton's got one guy in one arm, the other guy on the other arm, got a dude in a headlock, grabs a guy by the dreads and tosses him all the way into North Carolina, I would say, South Carolina, whichever one borders them. Maybe he tossed them all the way into Florida. The fact of the matter is, Cam Newton was fighting 3 to 4 different people and beating every single one of their asses. And I just want to know, what did you expect to happen? I understand maybe there's a grudge somewhere along the lines. Cam Newton says a lot of things on his podcast. Very good takesman. Very good at making the rounds on social media. Got to respect the game where it is due. Do these people just forget that throughout the course of a double-digit year NFL career, Cam Newton made his bread and butter being the greatest short yardage option of all time, absolutely eviscerating NFL linebackers, starting NFL linebackers at the point of attack and pushing them backwards throughout the course of his career. If Cam Newton is steamrolling NFL linebackers, what do you, normal person at a 7-on-7 event in Atlanta, think you are going to do? Not a goddamn thing. That's what you should be saying. Instead, these guys got a little bit overconfident, and before you know it, Cam Newton's got one of them by the hair, throwing him into the Atlantic Ocean, got another one in a headlock, fighting off a different dude with the arm that he just freed off by throwing a guy into Narnia. I mean, and he beat all their asses. Cam Newton won that fight. If you have that Wicked Witch of the East hat on, and it's still on at the end of the fight, didn't get the hat knocked off, ridiculous hat. That's just the aesthetic that Cam Newton permeates, quite frankly. If his hat's not even knocked off, I'll tell you one thing, that's a win. That's an absolute win. And just watching the video, I mean, why would you do this? Why would you do this to yourself? Why would you ever pick a fight with Cam Newton? It's a losing proposition, folks. It is a losing proposition. Don't do this. If anyone, I don't know who needs to hear this out there, don't pick a fight with Cam Newton. It's not going to go well for you. Unless you too are a former NFL athlete, which in that case, stop it, get some help. Maybe don't get into a physical altercation with Cam Newton. That's the only case in which you should maybe think about picking a fight with Cam Newton. You, regular person listening to me right now, yes, I'm talking to you. Don't pick a fight with Cam Newton. And if you do, come with 10 people. Don't be coming with 3 people. Just don't bring this weak-ass shit in here. 3 people. You got to be bringing a whole-ass platoon of people in order to jump Cam Newton. Because if you have any less than 5, you are getting your shit rocked every day of the week. And these guys just prove that, case in point. But with that, though, thank y'all so much for tuning into Unqualified Analysis, folks. We do this once a week during the off season. We got, we're trying to grow this thing a little bit, so go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening to it, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, all those sorts of things. Hit the subscribe button, share with a friend that you think might want to, enjoy this show a little bit. We're trying to keep this thing growing a little bit, I keep saying a little bit too much, so I'm gonna keep not saying that. I'm just kind of talking in circles right now. But yeah, follow me on the socials at Caleb Verzak for now. Link will be in the description. I think within the next week, maybe by the next time we talk, I will have changed my @ I am still waffling back and forth debating it. There's a good chance that as you're listening to this tomorrow, I may have changed my @ so stay tuned for that. We'll see how that all works out. But in the meantime, link is down in the description with my my Twitter, X. It's been too long. I need to just start calling it X. It's been a while since the name has changed. I've been obstinate about it for a while. It's been Twitter for many of the years, most of the years that I've been on the app. So, forgive me for not switching to that stupid name that Elon Musk gave it. I hope he's losing all sorts of money on this shit investment that he made. That's besides the point, though. Follow me on all those. If you want to contact the show, either shoot me a DM on X. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be most responsive if you shoot me the DM, or go to the email unqualifiedanalysis@gmail.com. That is also down in the description as well, so you can just copy paste that bad boy into your email if you wish to send one in. With that said, though, thank you so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. As always, I've got just about no clue what I am talking about. However, one thing I learned this week to make myself just a little bit smarter is that Ichiro Suzuki, the all-time hit king when you combine his hits in Japan and Major League Baseball, got the third hit in his MLB career in his 10th at-bat to get to the 300 batting average. His career batting average never dipped below 300 again after that in 20 years in Major League Baseball. Let me say that again, just so y'all realize how insane that is. Ichiro Suzuki got his third hit in his 10th at-bat to get to 300 batting average, and then for 20 years straight, did not dip below 300 ever again. An insane hitter that does not get enough credit in my mind. That's one of the wildest stats I have ever heard, quite frankly. So, with that, hope I blew your mind on that one. I will see y'all on the morrow, and by on the morrow, I mean next Tuesday. Y'all have a good one. See ya.